All right, so in this video, I'm going to be explaining how I damaged my Fat Shark Dominator V3s, what I did to damage it, how I'm going to replace it, and a couple other things that I've done differently to make my Immersion RC rapid fire module work better. All right, so let's flip around and take a look at the bench. Whoop, how are we doing this? There it is. All righty. So what you can see here is just about everything I got going on. I've got my Fat Sharks already taken apart so we can see what's going on inside. I've got my rapid fire module over here, battery, this is my head tracker bay, door, the foam. What we're really looking at is down here. So first off, when you get the rapid fire module, you have this secondary board that plugs into the power board, like where the battery for your Fat Shark goggles plugs into. And it sits on there just like that. And then from here, you've got a secondary ribbon that runs along the edge back to where the module bay plugs into. That way it can get enough power. Now, that's specifically on my Dominator V3s. On the new HDOs, you don't need that secondary ribbon to supply enough power. Anyways, so I was taking the expansion of the head tracking bay off to get that piece on. And when I did that, I popped off a tiny little IC circuit. Let's see if we can focus on that. I don't know if you can see it, but there is 3 solder joints that are kind of roughed up right there. And there used to be, just similar like this one, there's 3 joints on that. There was a little transistor that it was very, very close to the edge. And one of the feet from the door, when it popped off, hit it and it just snapped it off the board. And apparently that transistor is very important in getting power to the rest of the board. And so when I did that, I would plug in my battery and my goggles just wouldn't power on, nothing would power on. So I was not sure at first what happened because I've taken this bay door off several times and had no problems. So it took me a while to figure out what's going on. But very quickly, when you plug this in, you can basically check voltage coming out of this cable to the rest of the goggles. And you're supposed to be getting battery voltage out of, I think, the second pin. I could be wrong, I'm trying to remember. I think the second pin from the top, so like that pin right there, is where you're supposed to be getting battery voltage. And it goes through that little transistor, and if it's off, then that gets no voltage, goggles don't work. Okay, so from there, I just did a ton of research trying to figure out if I could just replace that transistor or if it was a voltage regulator or what was going on. Really difficult to do. I ended up contacting Fat Shark and they said, hey, yeah, we did have a problem with this version of the board. And you can see here, this is the DOM V3 VIN-C. I don't know what that is, but you can read all the numbers there. So that's the version that I have. And they said, yeah, that's the older version. We had some issues with people popping that off. When we redesigned this board, we moved that transistor in. And for $32, we can ship you just a whole new board. And I was hoping to get a pretty cheap component to solder on. That's not what happened, which is fine. Fat Shark was really nice. So this is the old module that's broken. The new module I have already plugged in. Looks the exact same, except you can see that the transistor, instead of being on the edge, has been moved in so that there's no way that the expansion bay door can contact it, which is great. That's awesome. But it came in this baggie with FSV3407 and then a spare ribbon cable, which is awesome. So $32 got me a brand new board with the updated placement, so that shouldn't happen again. And so from there, I was like, okay, since I've already got everything apart, I don't want to keep rubbing this ribbon because I've heard that there's a way to upgrade the goggles so that you don't need this board for the extra power for the rapid fire. So I did some digging. It's pretty easy to find. There's a couple of videos on how to either remove a resistor or solder in a jumper. And so I did that, and the confusing thing, and I'm hoping, I don't want to kind of beat a dead horse because I know a lot of people have made videos on that, but I've only seen videos where people have a board like this, and that's this board over here. It's where the HDMI and you have your jack like your headphone jack and then your on-off switch for your receiver. It's the expansion bay header pins go through it. So if you flip it around though, whoops, it looks like that. Mine looks very different than what all the other videos have. You see this line of yellow capacitors? Mine do not look like that at all. So I'm guessing this is an older version. I don't know. But still, I tested it, and when I did not have the secondary ribbon cable for the rapid fire module plugged in, it would not work. So it didn't have enough power to power it on without the ribbon cable. So I tested that. So I came back and did a bunch of digging, and it looks like there is, I believe it's, I don't want to lie to you, what is it? So if we look here, there's a switch, and then right below the switch, there's a tiny little resistor labeled L1. On the board that I showed you for my phone that everyone was modifying, they were also jumping a resistor that was labeled L1 on the board, but it was in a very different location. So I looked at the board and saw a couple contacts that were connected. This capacitor right here, this is the biggest one. This leg of it right here on the other board was connected to this resistor. I followed the trace in the picture. And so I just got my multimeter out, checked the what's the word? Continuity between this resistor and this capacitor, and they were connected. So I was like, okay, let's just give it a shot. This seems like this will work. Different layout, different board, very different everything, but it all looked kind of like it made sense in my head. So I soldered a jumper on this, and lo and behold, it works. I don't need this spare board or this silly ribbon cable. So that's pretty fantastic. So that's a very, very small modification, but for me, it's awesome because I don't have to worry about this board and this ribbon cable. So that's great. Now, the third thing that I've done is, and again, people have done videos on this. I'm just kind of rolling y'all through what I've done. I've taken a balance lead cable and I've soldered it to the positive and negative. And I guess this is also something that would be helpful. So the jack on the Fat Shark goggles, if you flip it over and you look at it like this with the curve on this side and the flat on this side, the positive is going to be on the bottom and the negative is going to be on the top. That's pretty easy to figure out if you got a voltmeter, but just in case you're watching this to figure that out, I just want to let y'all know that I've already done that. And so you can see here, I've soldered on the negative and the positive to those two. And then I'm going to snake this out the side of the goggles and then plug it in to the fan. That way, whenever I plug in my goggles, the fan automatically gets power. I don't have to plug and unplug. Oh my gosh, the fly. I don't have to plug and unplug this every time to get my fan working, which I'm kind of excited about because that's super annoying. And sometimes I need it to defog my goggles, but I'm already flying and I can't take my goggles off to plug this in to then turn the fan on. So it'll always be plugged in. So real quick, we'll just do a test and I'll show you kind of what's going on. So this is the rapid fire module. We'll plug it in like this. Alrighty, and then I'll plug in my battery. Okay, and then we'll go through the menu. The way to check if you're getting the proper voltage, with the jumper that I did on this board, the modification, is you center click and then go over to about or status and click about, and then it says low power, this says no. So if it was getting low power, it would say yes. Now that I've done the modification, I do not need this ribbon and this secondary circuit board, and I'm getting enough power as it is. So that is perfect. All right, so I'm gonna unplug this, and then I guess just real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this all back together and show you kind of what it looks like. I didn't want to disassemble, talk about it, and reassemble. I know that takes forever, and y'all don't want to sit around and watch me do all that twice. So we're just gonna clip all this back together, and if you're curious how to take it apart, you can just watch this in reverse, I guess. It has been a while since I took this apart, so this might actually be interesting. All right, so let's do this first. I know this goes in here. Oh, I forgot. There's one more really important thing. On this is the original one. You can see, maybe not. So there's these little cutouts right there on either side of this barrel connector. Those cutouts fit between these two teeth in the goggles. So with the new one, it had similar cutouts, but they were too small. So I had to take a razor blade and kind of make them larger so it would fit. So be careful if you get this. It's not necessarily just a drop-in replacement for, and this is again Dominator V3s, because it would probably break these teeth if you just like put it on there and try to clamp everything together. Okay, yeah, that was an important thing when I was fitting everything up, I was like, wait a second, why is that not fitting? But it fits right on those teeth now that I cut the hole out. All right, sorry. So back to getting this together. All right, so there's slots that this board slides into. Make sure that's pressed in, everything lines up on the back. Looks good. Alrighty, and then we're gonna want to line this up. And getting everything back together is pretty easy. The hard part about this is making sure that the cables don't get crimped between the two cases. All right, let's see here. So you just want to make sure all the loose cables are free and clear of the case itself. All right, let's spin this around. See, like right here, that's bad. I don't want that cable sticking out. So I'm just gonna get my tweezers and kind of just poke it back in. Perfect, okay. All right, so that looks pretty good. Okay. So, actually, I think I need to get this board. Do I need to screw this in first? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it looks like I do. I know, like y'all are, I feel your eyes looking at this like, oh my gosh, he's gonna rip that ribbon cable. I'm being pretty delicate. These things are pretty durable if you're not just a yahoo and trying to break them. All right, so those look like they're ready to go. Let's see here. Oh, excellent, I'm not prepared. I need a Phillips screwdriver. Let's grab one of these real quick. All right. I honestly do not remember if this is the right screw. It's been a while since, it doesn't seem right. I think, yeah, this is the wrong one. It's the small, short black one that goes here. So that's my bad. There we go. Yep, that's better. Okay. All right, and then this standoff goes there. And then we need to make sure that these, I think, I might have to redo this actually. So what I'm thinking is for this to be long enough, I've got to bring it out this side like that. There we go. All right, so now I think I can do something like that when it comes out and we'll be good. Okay, so there's a little groove right there that can run out. All right, there we go, now we're cooking. All right, so I think we've got all the boards back in place. Now I just gotta make sure these cables don't get crunched again. this guy likes to stick out. You gotta be careful with him. So just get him back in a second time. Come on. There we go. Okay, so just lightly pushing that back in, getting this wire right there so it's not going to get crunched, and making sure all these little black leads are free and clear. That all looks good. Okay, and then we'll just, oh, that's getting pinched right there. There we go. All right, nice. Okay, everything looks good. I'm just doing a once check more to make sure nothing's gonna be bad or bind. Okay, cool. So now the 3 silver screws go in the outside. That's a no-duh. I I took this apart probably 2 or 3 weeks ago before I contacted Fat Shark, and I didn't really remember where the screws went, so that's my bad. Here we go. So we'll get that one in, I believe, that one and that one. Yeah, and they're all the same length, which is nice. I absolutely hate it whenever manufacturers use a billion different length or diameter or thread screws in the assembly just to like get to the main components, like the main board or like something that needs to be repaired. So thank you, Fat Shark, for keeping things simple with similar screws. All right, cool. So let's see here. I think at this point we can put the rapid fire in. So it goes a little something like this, lining those pins up, and then the case goes on like this, and just clips in. Nice, that's nice and snug. Alrighty, now I can put the expansion bay door on, and just again being careful because there are components there, so don't jam a screwdriver in there. We'll pop that on, okay. And now we'll grab the face plate and we'll snap that guy in. And then we'll put that screw, oh, that's just the screw for the fan, so we don't actually even mess with that. And then from here, I can go up and plug in to this guy. I'll probably tuck that back into the goggles a little bit to make it nice and clean. There we go. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So let's plug in the goggles, make sure everything's working. All right, so looks good. Let's go back to the about. All right, so low power says no, so we're good there. Let's see if, yep, the goggles, both eyes are working. Looks good. Now let's test the fan. I don't know if you can even see the fan, but if I click this button, yep, it starts spinning. So we're good. So that kind of wraps it up. All right, so the last thing before I put a bow on this little video, there's one more thing that I wanted to do that I didn't want to cover too much in this video because I want to make my own video about it because it's a little bit special. So everyone that I know that flies FPV goggles, I mean, eventually you learn pretty good, but like when you have your goggles on, you take this plug and you're just like trying to get it to plug in. And some people are really good at it and they can plug it in immediately. But every once in a while, you'll be in a rush or something, you're trying to plug it in and it's hard to do. So I thought of an idea and I got this. Now some of you immediately are like, holy moly, I know exactly what that is. And some of you have no idea. It's cool though because this is the magnetic port from the old style Apple MacBooks. So with that comes a magnetic connection. Check that out. You just kind of put it close to it and it will clip on. So what I was thinking is I'm going to 3D print a new door here, and I'm going to put that there, and that way I'm going to replace this cable on the goggles. That way when I put on my goggles, all I have to do is kind of put the arm over there and bam, it just automatically connects. I'm not having to blindly try to put the barrel jack in. And also, a lot of people have said after a while, the barrel jack connectors fatigue and they'll just stop connecting. So this is kind of two birds, one stone. It's a lot easier to get it to connect because the magnetic just like automatically lines it up and you're getting power. But then also, this is a much more robust, a lot more connection or connects and disconnects you can do before it fails. It's rated for a lot more connections than a little barrel jack. So if you're interested in that, stick around, check out my new videos. I'm going to be doing some design work to get a new panel and then testing that out, so that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, so hopefully y'all enjoyed that video. I think we've got some questions. Let's take a look real quick. Let's see here. How do I? Here we go. Nope, no questions that are going to be answered in this video. So yeah. Oh wait, hold on. One just came in. What's the name of that vacuum sealer thing for food? Jessica, you can just hold your horses on that. I'll get back with you later. All right, so thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that was interesting. I know there was a couple weird things with me. I know with the board and then the power board, with the way that people have done this on previous videos or videos that I've found, my version was a little bit different. So if you've got a similar problem or similar questions where you're like, hey, I'm trying to follow these videos, but they don't have the exact hardware I do, hopefully this video was helpful, answered some questions, and let me know what you think about this. I'm kind of excited. I think this is going to be pretty cool. I'm noticing that it doesn't always click every time. So, but in the MacBook, there is like a little channel that is recessed in, and that made sure that it connected every time. So I'll probably make sure and print that same type of feature so that it snaps on. But let me know what you think. Good idea, bad idea? What do you think? All right, guys, thanks for watching, and leave your comments down below, and I'll get back to you. I will see you next time.